Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again, and today I'm going to be talking about 4 fragrances that I have that have the most sentimental value in my collection. So stay tuned for that. And if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. Now, this video actually seemed like an interesting topic for me. I think a lot of people wear and collect fragrances for a lot of different reasons, and a lot of people start collecting fragrances for a variety of different reasons, and I thought it would be really interesting to talk about this when I saw it on YouTube, and that is 4 fragrances that have sentimental value to me, because, you know, in some ways that makes the best fragrances. A lot of fragrance is tied up in memory and experience. And so having a personal association with any given fragrance obviously makes it that much more meaningful to the person who wears it, and it just makes it a much nicer experience. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about 4 fragrances for me that have sentimental value. So the first one is actually going to be Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Now, I've talked about this one before on my channel, and it was actually one of the first bottles that I ever picked up. I'd had a couple other bottles. They were kind of okay. I bought, Voyage before this, and at the time I certainly did enjoy Voyage. It was an easy to wear fragrance, and I mean, it still is. But I had tried this fragrance, the Eau de Parfum, based actually on Jeremy's recommendation. He would talk about all the time how great it was, and I had bought a decant of it and I tried it out, and it was pretty good. I did like it. I think one of the things I didn't like about it was if you smelled it up close, it was pretty harsh. It did project well. It was a great fragrance though, and I really did enjoy wearing that one. But I went down to the boutique. I decided to pick it up, a bottle of it, and the Parfum concentration had actually just been released. And so I did try this one, and to be honest with you, it took a few seconds for it to really sink in when I was trying it on, but I did really enjoy this one. The biggest thing, as I've mentioned before, if I'm talking about any of the fragrances, the one thing that sets the Parfum apart from me is the fact that it doesn't have any of those rough edges. It's very rounded, very refined. It's not too harsh on the nose. I mean, the Eau de Parfum is a better projector, and it lasts about as long as the Parfum, but the Parfum does have a much more round and more mature smell. I actually was kind of at an interesting time in my life, and I was really just starting to get into fragrances, and so when I first smelled this at the boutique, it was really something that actually kind of moved me. And it's funny saying that, I guess. You know, a lot of people think Bleu de Chanel is a pretty basic fragrance, and in some ways it is a basic fragrance, but it does have some nice depth there, it has some nice character, and it's very smooth. So, I really do actually enjoy this one. Nice black, or not black, dark blue bottle as well. I like the writing on this one, but very good. It's also one of the only fragrances that I've ever purchased at full retail, so I guess, that says something. But it is a nice fragrance, and that will always hold a sentimental value. It's in many ways the first fragrance that I ever really owned. Of course, like I mentioned, I'd bought Voyage and stuff like that, but this was the first fragrance that I ever bought that I really was passionate about the fragrance and really enjoyed it. So for me, this is kind of the one that really got me looking at more fragrances, and it was one that I have always enjoyed wearing, and I still enjoy it. I've put a pretty good dent in this one, and I've had it for about 2 years or so, and so do enjoy this one, and that definitely going to be on this list. Now the next one is actually another designer fragrance, and one that might actually surprise you, because there are actually this is a flanker, this one, and there are flankers of this one that are released in North America. This is a Japan exclusive from what I understand, and so it is a fragrance that you basically never hear anyone talk about, and that is Salvatore Ferragamo Acqua Essenziale White. Now, I've actually heard good things about some of the other ones in the line. I mean, not that it ever really gets mentioned, but what I have heard about it is, they're nice, easy to wear fragrances, and I think they are fairly inexpensive. This was actually something that a friend of mine picked up, and it's something that she bought for me for my birthday. So this is probably one of the only times I've received a fragrance as a gift, and I think it means a lot because, she's a really good friend to me, And, you know, it was a thoughtful thing for her to do, so I really appreciate that. This is also a nice, easy to wear fragrance. I put a pretty good dent in it there, all things considered, especially considering I have a lot of fragrances. But, you know, this is a really easy to wear fragrance, something that's easy to wear with a white t-shirt or whatever, just you're kind of going out. And it's very, very easy to wear, great for spring, great for summer. You know, it's a clean smell, a little bit breezy, and it's a lighter fragrance. And she personally happens to be a fan of freshies. I've had her on the show before. She doesn't tend to like the heavier scents, which is unfortunate. A lot of them I like to be quite heavy, although I do also like freshies, but she loves freshies. So this is one that she liked, and I think it is a nice fragrance, of course. So this one is also going to be on the list. Now, the next one on the list is actually the first niche fragrance I ever tried, and the first niche fragrance I ever purchased. And it's funny because this is again because of Jeremy again. Now, this particular fragrance he didn't actually talk about, but he was talking about Leighton a lot. I had seen it on his channel. I forget, he was, you know, riding around in a Ferrari or whatever with someone's mum for whatever reason. And she smelled Leighton and, of course, mentioned, you know, she loved it, and he kind of sold it as a really great fragrance. And so I'd wanted to try Leighton, and I was trying to find a sample of it, but I couldn't at the time. But I did find something from that house, which was this one, and it sounded interesting to me. And so I did pick it up, and that is Owajan by Parfums de Marley. Now, like I said, this was the introduction to niche fragrances. Interestingly enough, I bought this one in the summer, and first time I wore it was in the summer. I actually even got a couple compliments with this one, and you know, I think this is a really, although niche fragrance, quite mass appealing. It's a very enjoyable gourmand fragrance. You know, it's cinnamon, it's a little bit spicy, it's sweet, it's got lots and lots of honey. Some people get a little bit of an apple pie vibe, but altogether it's one that, you know, I feel very luxurious wearing, and it is one that I think is easy to wear, and it's quite mass appealing given that it's a niche fragrance. But nonetheless, this was my introduction to niche fragrances, and I think it was probably 6 months after I had a decant of it that I decided to pick up a bottle. And I got a really good deal on this one, so I think I picked it up for around $130 US, and that's a pretty good price for something that retails at like $330 or something like that. So great price. I really love the presentation of Parfums de Marley. This is still my favorite Parfums de Marley. You know, it's just so enjoyable to wear when it's something that I'm in the mood to wear. So really enjoy that one, and it does have that certain sentimental value to me because it is, you know, the first niche fragrance I ever owned, and probably, you know, that's a big step for a lot of people because that's when, you know, fragrances become a lot more expensive. Interestingly enough, because I paid full retail for this, I believe it was more expensive than the Owajan, but you know, the Owajan does actually retail for more money. But anyways, so one left. And this is a fragrance that I've actually talked about a lot. I really do love this one. And it has a sentimental connection to me also because it is or was a gift. And it's one that I actually almost thought I would never own. Probably because it's very expensive and I kind of thought I would never really get it. But I've mentioned it on the channel before, and that is Creed Viking. Really do love this one. Absolutely brilliant, spicy fragrance, fresh. The mint really clashes with the spices, making it have this really, really enjoyable cooling effect. Dry down, nice, spicy. The rose starts to come out, and it's a really beautiful rose. So altogether, it's one of my favorite fragrances, and it's probably one of my favorite Creeds, if not my favorite Creed. But anyways, so it was a birthday gift from my parents. And, you know, they didn't buy it for me directly, because if you've heard me talk about this one before, I said how I bought it for $160 at Costco, which is true. But my parents had given me some money to buy something that I wanted, and this is what I ended up getting. And, you know, I really enjoy this one. I think it's a great fragrance. Hopefully it'll last a long time because $160 is a really good price, and I don't want to have to try and hunt that down again. But in either case, This is a fragrance that for me, it just feels very nice wearing it. I really enjoy this one. And it's one that I'll always have sort of a special meaning for me and a special value because, it was a gift from my parents, and I, appreciate all the things that they've done for me throughout the years, and all the things they've helped me with and all that stuff. So really do appreciate that. And, Viking is just one of my favorite fragrances. I know it gets hated on a lot, but I also see that a lot of people are kind of coming around to it because it is a really great, mature masculine fragrance. So do really enjoy that one. But anyways, guys, I think that's going to be it for this one. Leave a comment down below. What is the most sentimental fragrance that you own? Why is it sentimental to you? What is it about it that makes it special? Let me know. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.